88-year-old woman was evicted from her home. Then her neighbor handed her something shocking. Angie had lived in the same house for 35 years. But one morning, everything changed. A man stood at her front door, not to visit, but to evict her. Without warning, Angie, who was already 88 years old, was forced out of her home. Her belongings were thrown onto the lawn. The front door was padlocked shut. And with nowhere else to go, she decided to move into a hotel temporarily. She was heartbroken. That house was more than just bricks and walls. It held the memories of her late husband. Turns out, after her husband passed away years earlier, Angie had faced serious financial difficulties. At her age, returning to work was nearly impossible. So she made a deal with a family friend in Europe. She sold the house to him to access the money she needed to survive, and in return, he rented it back to her so she could continue living in the only place she'd ever called home. What Angie didn't know was that her friend hadn't used his own money. He had taken out a mortgage. When he eventually could no longer afford to make the payments, the bank foreclosed on the house, and eventually it was sold to an investment firm. That could have been the end of the story, but someone had been watching. Her neighbor, Danielle Calder, saw the eviction unfold on the front lawn, and she refused to let it end that way. To her, Angie was like family, and she knew just how much that house meant to her. So Danielle did something no one expected. She contacted the firm that had bought the property and, without hesitation, paid $167,500 to buy it back. Then, she and a group of neighbors repainted the walls, cleaned the rooms, and on Angie's 89th birthday, walked her right back to her front door and handed her the keys. Angie was so overwhelmed she could barely speak. She said it was the best birthday gift she'd ever received. Now, she rents the home from Danielle, surrounded once again by the people who refused to let her grow old alone.